I used to think I was missing out when everyone else was out laughing under bright lights, while I sat quietly at home with a cup of tea and a soft lamp on. I'd scroll past photos of people surrounded by friends, and for a moment feel that strange guilt, as if peace was something I had to apologize for. But the truth was, I wasn't avoiding life. I was simply finding it in quieter ways. There's a certain kind of person who feels most alive in stillness. They find meaning in slow mornings, comfort in familiar spaces, and energy in solitude. It's not about isolation, it's about alignment. Psychology calls this self-regulated solitude, the ability to restore emotional energy through calm and reflection instead of constant stimulation. People like this aren't detached. They're attuned. They notice the small things, the sound of rain against the window, the smell of something cooking in the next room, the simple warmth of being safe inside. To them, home isn't a place to hide. It's a place where their nervous system exhales. But the world doesn't always understand that. It tells us that happiness lives in motion, in crowds, in noise, in social proof. And yet, some of us find it in stillness, in the quiet, in the slow, in the sacred, ordinary. So if you've ever been told you're too quiet, too private, or too content on your own, this video is for you. Because people who love staying at home share more than habits. They share a rare psychology, a different way of seeing peace. In this video, we'll explore 15 rare personality traits that reveal the hidden depth behind those who feel most themselves in their own space, not lonely, not withdrawn, but deeply, quietly alive. When we talk about people who love staying at home, most imagine someone antisocial, unmotivated, or afraid of the outside world. But psychology paints a much deeper picture. Behind the calm of a quiet room lies a complex emotional architecture, one that reflects how a person manages energy, safety, and identity. At its core, the love for staying home begins with the nervous system. Every human being operates within what psychologists call a window of tolerance, the range where our mind and body can function calmly without feeling overwhelmed. For some, that window is wide. They can handle crowds, noise, and stimulation with ease. But for others, those with sensitive nervous systems or histories of emotional exhaustion, that window narrows. The outside world feels louder, faster, heavier. And when that threshold is crossed, the brain instinctively seeks retreat, not out of fear, but out of self-preservation. That retreat often takes the shape of home. Home becomes more than a physical structure. It turns into a psychological boundary. Within its walls, you control the pace, the sound, the light. And according to environmental psychology, that sense of control directly influences our emotional state. When you decide what enters your space, what music plays, how the air smells, how sunlight filters through the curtains, you're not being picky, you're regulating your environment to restore balance inside. For many, this love for home begins as recovery. Life outside may have been filled with overstimulation, constant demands, difficult people, jobs that reward performance over peace. Over time, your body learns, here it's safe, here I can rest. This association is what neuroscientists call emotional conditioning. The heart slows, the breath deepens, the muscles unclench, or because your body recognizes home as the one place where it no longer has to defend itself. But there's another layer to this story. Staying home also reflects emotional maturity, the ability to find fulfillment without external validation. People who feel at ease in solitude tend to have a higher level of self-containment, a term psychologists use to describe emotional independence. They don't rely on constant noise or attention to feel significant. Instead, their sense of meaning comes from inner stability. from understanding themselves, not from performing for others. Carl Rogers, one of the fathers of humanistic psychology, believed that true self-awareness emerges only in spaces of psychological safety, moments when we can drop every mask and simply be. For people who love staying home, that space is literal. It's the quiet room where they can stop pretending, where the world's expectations finally fade into silence, and in that silence, their authentic self, tired but honest, quiet but alive, finally comes forward. So, when someone says, "I just feel better at home," it's not a small statement. It's the language of a nervous system remembering how to breathe, of a mind learning to trust its own pace again. Home, in this sense, isn't a hiding place. It's a mirror. It reflects who we are when no one is watching, when the noise fades and all that's left is us, unclothed from expectation, reconnecting with something essential, our peace. And that's where the story of the 15 rare personality traits begins, not in isolation, but in understanding. Because behind every quiet night and closed door lies a mind that's not running from the world, but slowly, bravely, learning how to live within it again. When we look closer, the people who love staying at home share something extraordinary. Their quiet routines, their calm presence, even the way they move through life, all of it hides rare psychological strengths most of the world overlooks. These 15 traits aren't signs of isolation, they're reflections of emotional intelligence, awareness, and depth. 1. Inner independence. They feel whole on their own. Their confidence doesn't depend on who notices them or how many people are around. In psychology, this is known as having an internal locus of control, the understanding that real peace starts inside, not from others' approval. When they choose to stay home, it isn't because they're hiding or avoiding the world. It's because their inner world already gives them what they need: calm, focus, and balance. Home, for them, is not an escape from life, but a space that reflects who they truly are, steady, grounded, and quietly in control. 2. Emotional intelligence. They've become fluent in reading their emotions. Instead of ignoring what they feel, they pause and notice when calm is genuine, when anxiety is whispering, when they need space, or when they need someone's voice. It's a kind of quiet intelligence, built from listening inward before reacting outward. This research from Yale's Center for Emotional Intelligence shows that people who spend time in reflection tend to manage stress and relationships more effectively. They don't fight their feelings or bury them, they translate them. Their strength lies not in avoiding emotion, but in understanding it deeply and responding with awareness. 3. Deep self-awareness. Time alone helps them see themselves more clearly. Away from noise and comparison, they start noticing patterns. What drains their energy, what restores it, and what truly matters to them. Psychologist Carl Rogers called this self-congruence, living in harmony between who you are and how you act. For these people, home becomes a quiet mirror where truth has room to surface. It's where they test honesty, not performance. They don't hide from themselves, they study themselves with curiosity. And in that space of reflection, they begin to align their inner world with the life they actually want to live. 4. Introverted energy flow. Their energy works on a different rhythm. Big crowds, loud spaces, or constant social demands drain them fast, while quiet moments recharge their mind. They're not antisocial, they just understand how their energy flows. Psychology calls this self-regulation, the body's natural way of maintaining balance. When they stay home, they're not avoiding people, they're refilling their inner battery. Stillness helps them return to the world with more focus, patience, and emotional steadiness. They've learned that peace isn't found in constant motion. It's found in knowing when to pause and let their mind rest before engaging again. 5. Creative depth. For them, silence isn't the absence of activity, it's the space where ideas begin to grow. When the noise of the world fades, their mind starts to connect thoughts that were once scattered. Scientists call this the activation of the brain's default mode network, the system responsible for creativity and insight. That's why writers, artists, and deep thinkers often find inspiration in solitude. At home, their thoughts have room to breathe and unfold naturally. What looks like stillness from the outside is actually creation in progress, a quiet process where imagination slowly turns into something real. 6. Reflective wisdom. People who enjoy staying home rarely react on impulse. They take a moment to breathe, observe, and understand before responding. This habit comes from what psychologists call metacognition, the skill of being aware of your own thoughts. It allows them to notice emotions without being controlled by them. Instead of reacting to chaos, they analyze it, turning confusion into clarity. Their calmness isn't indifference, it's awareness. By reflecting first, they make wiser choices and protect their peace. Home gives them the space to do that, to think before they speak, to listen before they judge, to respond from understanding, not reactivity. 7. Heightened empathy. Being alone doesn't make them detach, it makes them more in tune. The more time they spend understanding their own emotions, the more clearly they can recognize those emotions in others. Neuroscience shows that the same part of the brain that helps us reflect, the medial prefrontal cortex, is also what allows us to feel empathy. That's why solitude often leads to deeper compassion. People who enjoy quiet moments learn to read emotion not through words, but through tone, silence, and energy. Their calm isn't indifference, it's understanding. They don't rush to fix or judge it. They listen, softly and completely. Having faced their own feelings without distraction, they know how to sit with someone else's pain without fear. Their empathy doesn't shout or demand to be seen. It's gentle, steady, and sincere, the kind that makes others feel safe simply by being understood. 8. Observational sensitivity. At home, their awareness sharpens. They notice the softest sounds, small shifts in light, or subtle changes in someone's tone that others overlook. This isn't overthinking, it's sensitivity with purpose. Psychologists call it sensory processing sensitivity, a trait found in people whose brains take in more detail from their surroundings. It often comes with stronger creativity and empathy because they feel and perceive life more deeply. What seems ordinary to others becomes meaningful to them. Their quiet observation isn't detachment, it's connection. They see the world in finer focus, finding beauty and truth in moments most people pass by. 9. Strong sense of self. Being alone doesn't make them uncertain, it reminds them who they are. Through solitude, they've learned to define themselves without needing approval or comparison. Their values, choices, and pace in life come from reflection, not pressure. They don't chase trends or bend to please others because their sense of self is steady from within. Psychologists call this self-anchoring, the ability to stay grounded even when external validation fades. That's why their confidence feels calm, not loud. It doesn't shout to be seen, it simply exists. Alone or surrounded, they remain the same centered, authentic, and quietly strong. 10. Intuitive awareness. Their intuition stays sharp because they take time to listen. In the quiet, subtle thoughts and feelings rise to the surface, guiding their choices. Cognitive psychology research shows that intuition strengthens when the brain has room to process information beneath conscious awareness. That's why solitude often brings sudden clarity or gut feelings that prove right. Home gives them that mental space, a pause long enough for the inner voice to speak. They don't rush decisions, they sense them. It's not magic, just deep awareness, formed in silence, where the mind finally has space to connect the dots. 11. Open-minded growth. People who love staying home aren't stuck in their ways, they're quietly growing. Solitude gives them space to think for themselves, to question what they believe, and to explore new ideas without outside pressure. Because they're not constantly reacting to opinions or trends, their growth happens from the inside out. Psychologists call this reflective learning, the process of evolving through introspection. Their stillness isn't stagnation, it's depth in motion. While the world rushes forward, they expand inward, gaining perspective and wisdom that come only from time spent in thoughtful quiet. In silence, they keep changing, calmly, deliberately, and freely. Resilience through stillness. They understand that rest isn't weakness, it's how they recharge for what's next. Time alone acts like training for the mind, a kind of emotional workout that restores strength and clarity. Each quiet evening helps them process the day, reset their energy, and regain balance. Research on emotional recovery shows that people who accept solitude bounce back from stress more effectively than those who constantly seek distraction. For them, stillness isn't a pause in life, it's part of the rhythm that keeps them steady. Peace isn't their escape, it's their preparation. In silence, they rebuild the strength to begin again. 13. Clear boundaries. They've learned the quiet art of saying no. It's not coldness, it's clarity. They understand their limits and protect their time like something sacred. Psychology calls this boundary awareness, the ability to recognize what nourishes you and what drains you. They don't agree to every plan or please everyone just to belong. Instead, they choose presence over obligation. Their boundaries aren't built to keep people away, but to let the right ones in, gently and intentionally. It's how they protect their peace, ensuring that every connection in their life feels mutual, meaningful, and emotionally. 14. Authentic loyalty. They don't chase crowds or collect contacts. They build bonds that feel real. To them, connection isn't about being surrounded by people, it's about being seen by the right ones. They'd rather share silence with someone who understands them than laughter that feels forced. When they care, they do it fully, not halfway. Psychologists call this selective social investment, putting emotional energy where it's returned with honesty and warmth. These people value sincerity over popularity, choosing relationships that bring peace instead of pressure. They don't need constant messages or attention to feel close. They just need mutual respect and trust. For them, friendship isn't performance, it's presence. The people in their lives aren't decorations, they're anchors. That's why their connections last. Quiet, loyal, and genuine, like home itself, a place where they can show up exactly as they are and still feel safe. 15. Moral integrity. They live by their own quiet compass. While the world often moves by trends or approval, they make choices rooted in conscience, not convenience. Before reacting, they pause to ask what feels right, not what looks good. Psychologists describe this as moral autonomy, the ability to act from inner values instead of social pressure. Even when no one sees, they aim to do what aligns with empathy and integrity. Their peace comes from consistency, being the same person in silence as they are in the spotlight. It's not perfection they seek, but truthfulness lived quietly and sincerely. These 15 traits form a psychological constellation, a quiet strength that thrives in stillness. While the world celebrates motion, they remind us that meaning often grows in calm. People who love staying at home aren't hiding from life, they're refining it, one quiet, mindful moment at a time. There's a fine, invisible line between peace and isolation. At first, they look the same, both quiet, both safe, both comforting. But peace restores you, isolation slowly drains you. Peace fills the room with light, isolation dims it, one day at a time. Many people who love staying home don't notice when that shift happens. What once felt like rest begins to feel like retreat. What once healed you starts to hold you still. It happens quietly. You skip one plan because you're tired, another because the thought of noise feels heavy. Soon, your world becomes smaller, familiar, predictable. Psychology calls this avoidance conditioning. The brain learns that distance equals relief, so it keeps choosing distance, even when you no longer need protection. The silence that once comforted you begins to echo, and somewhere inside, you start wondering if peace should feel this empty. But peace was never meant to be permanent. It was meant to be rhythmic. Like the ocean tide, it moves in and out. In psychology, this is called flexible solitude, the ability to rest in silence and still return to life. When you practice flexible solitude, home doesn't isolate you, it recenters you. You step away to recover, not to disappear. True calm doesn't require walls, it travels with you. You might have felt it before, the difference between peace that restores and silence that weighs you down. On good days, quiet feels nourishing. Your breath steadies, your thoughts clear, your energy returns. On harder days, quiet feels thick, like the air has stopped moving. That's not failure, it's a signal. Your nervous system is ready to stretch again, to step into gentle motion. A walk, a call, sunlight through an open window. Small acts of re-entry that remind the body safety isn't only found in stillness. Carl Jung once said, "No tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell." It's his way of saying peace can't exist without discomfort. Growth always asks us to stretch beyond the soft edges of comfort. For people who love staying home, that means carrying your calm into the world, bringing stillness into motion. It's not abandoning quiet, but expanding it. When peace meets movement, it becomes strength. So what does it mean to truly love being at home? It means you've learned to create calm where others search for escape. It means you've built a safe base, not a permanent boundary. You go inward to listen, then outward to live. Your home isn't a place to hide. It's where you gather the kind of quiet that lets you move through the world with gentleness instead of defense. In the end, loving home isn't about choosing stillness over life. It's about choosing awareness over noise. People who find peace in solitude aren't disconnected, they're deeply in tune. They've learned that healing doesn't mean disappearing and safety doesn't mean staying still. The goal was never to close the door forever. It was to open it again, with calm in your hands, not fear in your heart, because home was never meant to be where life stops. It's where you learn how to begin again. Maybe loving to stay at home was never really about comfort. It's about coming back to yourself. When the noise fades and you close the door behind you, something shifts. The silence that once felt empty starts to sound like your own voice again. Not the one shaped by expectation or comparison, but the quiet, honest one that reminds you, you don't have to prove your worth to anyone. You don't need to chase noise to feel alive. Peace isn't avoidance, it's awareness. The kind that grows when you finally stop running and start listening. There's a moment, psychologists call it integration, when the inside and outside finally begin to match. Your body stops living on defense. Your mind stops bracing for impact. You no longer need the world to calm down because you've learned how to stay calm within it. That's what home becomes, a mirror, not a hiding place. Not just the walls that protect you, but a rhythm that steadies you. It's the soft pulse of safety that stays with you even when you step back into the noise. When you love being at home, you start to move differently through life. You stop needing to be everywhere, to do everything, to impress anyone. You start to value pace over performance, quality over quantity, stillness over spectacle. The world might not understand that at first. It's built on speed, display, and validation. But you've learned that your peace isn't negotiable. You've learned that life can be full without being loud. Home is where you practice that truth. It's where you remember how to breathe deeply, to think slowly, to feel safely. It's where you learn that rest doesn't mean laziness, it means repair. In those quiet hours, your mind reorganizes what the day scattered, your emotions settle into balance, and your body finally believes it's allowed to stop holding tension. That's healing, not the dramatic kind, but the gentle, consistent kind that rebuilds you from the inside out. And healing doesn't end when you close the door. It prepares you to open it again. Because the real point of peace isn't to keep you still. It's to help you move through the world without losing yourself. When you find peace at home, you carry it into everything else. A calmer tone when you speak, softer eyes when you look at someone, patience where there used to be urgency. You stop reacting from fear and start responding from awareness. You start to live, not just survive. Carl Rogers once said, "What is most personal is most universal." Maybe that's why this quiet story, the story of staying home, of choosing peace resonates with so many. Because deep down, all of us are looking for the same thing, a place where we can stop performing and start existing. For some, that place is found in people. For others, it's found in silence. But the meaning is the sameto. Belong somewhere that doesn't demand you to shrink, prove, or compete. Loving to stay home is not about escaping life, it's about reclaiming it. It's learning to be enough without constant motion. It's realizing that growth doesn't always make noise, that stillness can be the most powerful transformation of all. You're not missing out by choosing peace. You're tuning into what's real, to what's yours, to what's lasting. So if you find yourself happiest with a cup of coffee, a book, soft light, and your own thoughts for company, don't apologize. That isn't smallness, it's clarity. It's knowing your nervous system's language and choosing to listen. It's the courage to say, "This pace feels right for me," even when the world moves faster. That quiet choice to honor what steadies you is one of the rarest forms of wisdom there is. Because home isn't where you hide from the world. It's where you learn how to live in it, on your terms, in your rhythm, with peace as your compass. And when you carry that peace with you, you realize the journey was never about getting somewhere else. It was always about coming home, to the calm, aware, and whole version of yourself that was waiting for you all along. So tonight, when you turn off the lights and everything grows still, remember this: home isn't where you hide from the world. It's where you remember how to live in it fully, calmly, and in your own rhythm. And if this spoke to you, if you saw a piece of yourself in these words, stay a while. Because here, in this quiet corner of the internet, we talk about the mind, the heart, and the spaces in between. Subscribe, and let's keep growing quietly together.